On February 26, 2012, the defendant, George Zimmerman, was driving to the grocery store when he first saw Trayvon Martin walking through the neighborhood. He was not on duty that night as the neighborhood watch coordinator. However, there had been many recent break-ins in the neighborhood, and he thought Martin's behavior was suspicious, so he called a non-emergency police line to report it. During the call, he told the dispatcher that Martin was coming to check me out, and it was recorded that Martin circled his vehicle. After telling the police dispatcher that Martin ran, Zimmerman left his vehicle to see which direction Martin had fled. The dispatcher asked if Zimmerman was following Martin, and Zimmerman stated, "Yeah." The dispatcher said, "Okay, we do not need you to do that," and Zimmerman replied with "okay," and said that Martin got away. Police were dispatched to come speak to Martin about what he saw. The call ended. According to the defendant, it was then that Martin came up from behind him, punched him in the face, knocked him down, and began beating his head against the sidewalk. The defendant said he called out for help while being beaten, and at one point Martin covered his mouth to muffle his screams. According to reports, during the struggle, while Martin was on top of Zimmerman, Martin saw the gun Zimmerman was carrying and said something to the effect of, "You're going to die now or you're going to die tonight," and continued to beat the defendant. Zimmerman and Martin struggled over the gun, and he shot Martin in the chest once at close range. My client reported immediately to police that he shot Martin in self-defense. On April 11, 2012, the defendant was charged with second-degree murder. We are pleading not guilty in the defense of self-defense. I'm Jessica Lusk, and I represent the defendant, George Zimmerman, in this case. During the course of this trial, you will learn that Zimmerman acted in self-defense to ward off the brutal and vicious attack from the assailant, Trayvon Martin. According to the law, there are 4 elements of self-defense: an unprovoked attack, said attack threatens imminent injury or death, an objectively reasonable degree of force was used, objectively reasonable fear of injury or death. Let me paint you a picture. It's dark. You see suspicious activity in your neighborhood. You call authorities to report it. You see the person run, flee, get away. Then out of nowhere, you are hit from behind, pushed to the ground, and beat on viciously. See Exhibit 1A. My client was indeed in imminent danger. He was indeed fearful of his life to be taken. It is a tragedy that Martin died that night, but it couldn't be avoided. My client indeed acted in self-defense. Zimmerman did not set out with the intent to cause harm to Martin. There is a lack of concurrence in the death of Martin. As the law states, for a behavior to be considered a crime, there must be a concurrence between the actus reus and mens rea. They have to occur together. In this case, there is no mens rea or criminal intent or a guilty state of mind from the defendant in the night of question. He was acting in self-defense after Martin attacked him. If Zimmerman had the intent to kill Martin, he would have not called 911 to report what he thought to be suspicious. Mr. Zimmerman feared his life would be taken due to Martin's attack. He did not know the gunshot would kill Martin. Acting in self-defense, he was doing what he had to do to save his own life. Instead of the monster that Zimmerman is made out to be, you will learn that he is an upstanding citizen with a passion for making a difference. He comes from a good home. His father served 22 years in the military. His mother, who was born in Peru, has been recorded that she has some African descent. When Zimmerman was 14, he entered a Junior Reserves Training Corps program because he wanted to become a Marine. Fast forward to adulthood. After graduating high school, he began working at an insurance agency. In 2004, Zimmerman and an African-American friend opened a satellite insurance office. In 2009, he began pursuing a degree in criminal justice. In 2011, the defendant, George Zimmerman, participated in a citizen forum at Sanford City Hall to protest the beating of an African-American man. And let's not forget he served as the neighborhood watch coordinator. The man I just described to you is anything but a racist profiler and murderer. He has a servant's heart with a passion for making a difference. He obtained a criminal justice degree. He has been an upstanding citizen. He has stood up for the brutal beating of an innocent black man. He went into business with an African-American friend. The defendant should be found not guilty because the state cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Zimmerman pulled the trigger in an act of hate. Again, look at the evidence. The defendant acted purely in self-defense. I'm asking the court to look past the hellacious and relentless portrayal of the defendant by the media. Look at who he is as a person and citizen. He is not a murdering, racist monster. He is simply a man who feared for his life after being attacked by Martin. He is a man who stood up for his right to protect his person from injury. He is a man who is defending himself when he felt his life was in danger, something most of you would naturally do in harm's way as well. While the death of Martin is truly a tragedy, the jury should not let the state play on their emotions and create another tragedy by convicting George Zimmerman. Respectfully, we ask that you find Mr. Zimmerman not guilty. We thank you for your time.